Nandipha Magudumana is expected to hear the outcome of her bail application a little bit later on today. Now, the fugitive argued in her bail bid that she wants to take care of her children. She was arrested with partner Thabo Bester in Tanzania in April, which she has challenged as unlawful. You will remember her argument around that. Magudumana is behind bars at the moment for allegedly helping the convicted murderer and rapist Thabo Bester escaping the Mangaung Correctional Center. Now, joining us this morning to give us an update on exactly what to expect for this morning, we've got Sli. A very good morning to you. This is a day that I guess South Africans have been waiting for. She has been in custody for the past few months, Nandipha, that is. But today is the day that she'll find out whether or not she will walk out a free woman, at least for now.
Well, that's the expectation, and we do know, of course, that today happens to be her birthday. And we know that her legal representation has been pushing for the state as well as itself to try and wrap up these bail proceedings as soon as possible. We adjourned last week, following some very dramatic scenes where we saw her getting quite emotional in the dock. She was crying. At some point, she looked quite irritated when the state began giving its evidence in opposition of bail. But what we are expecting today is for the state to begin its closing arguments, and then we are expecting perhaps later on during the day that the magistrate could have a decision on her bail application. But let's just take a listen to a discussion we had just yesterday with regards to the proceedings we saw last week, and an expert who observed Nandipha Magudumana's body language in terms of those bail proceedings. Let's take a listen.
When we cry, there's a physiological thing that happens to our body. Tears fall out of our eyes, our nose starts running, there's sadness. We normally call it a chin boss. The chin will start shaking, the eyebrows curl into each other. That's what you see on the face of a sad person or someone who's crying. I do think she's quite sad, but I feel like it's sad for herself. She's not showing remorse. She's sad for herself. Because when we do cry, as women, we know when we cry, you immediately wipe the tears away. She never wiped her tears. She only touched her nose. She wanted us to see she's crying. So that to me says it's fake. It's not real. She's crying to get sympathy. And she wants everyone to see, the judge included, that she's crying. But, you know, in human behavior, when we cry, we wipe it away immediately. She only really wiped it away after the judge asked her, is this your affidavit? And she said yes. And then someone gave her tissues, and she was wiping tears. I do think she might be going into a depression also now, but, you know, I don't think it's fun where she is. And she's really feeling sorry for herself. And I think she's starting to realize people don't believe her.
Yeah.
And she's in a catch-22. She needs to perform now.
Now, Sli, we do know that bail is not intended to be anything punitive. So take us through some of the considerations that will be considered in this bail application.
So it is a Schedule 5 bail application, meaning the onus is on Nandipha Magudumana to show the court why the interests of justice permit her release on bail. And as I stated, the state is opposing this. Its main concern, or its biggest concern, is the fact that she is a flight risk. You'd remember that 4 months ago, she and Thabo Bester were deported from Tanzania after months on the run. And the state is alleging that if she is released, then she has the means to possibly evade her trial, that she won't want to come to court to come and clear her name, but her defense and her lawyers are telling the court that this is completely untrue, saying that in fact Nandipha is a victim of Thabo Bester herself, saying that she was forced to flee the country against her will and that she never had any intention to leave South Africa. We also got some legal analysis from one of our resident legal analysts. Let's take a listen to Mr. Altenhart.
If one looks at it, Schedule 5 and Schedule 6, that's normally the two tough ones, and the onus is on the applicant to actually show either that's in the interest of justice that you be released on bail or exceptional circumstances. Now for her, it's just required to show that it's in the interest of justice, and that you find in section 60 subsection 4A to E, where there's these 5 requirements that you have to meet in order for the judge to consider favorably in your on your side. So you need to tick all those boxes and show, okay, I won't interfere with witnesses, I will not commit another crime, I will not evade my trial. All those things you need to prove beyond, like sort of not beyond reasonable doubt, but on a balance of probabilities that it won't happen. So, and we should also not think of bail as a punitive measure. Bail is just to see, will you stand trial? Now, I can see the sentiment on social media as they want the judge to punish her already, but she's exercising her rights. And she only needs to show it's in the interest of justice that she be released on bail, and she can now advance things like her family life, her work, all those type of things that she's put in to say that I will lose all this if I'm incarcerated for a longer period of time. So, and then obviously the state needs to come to the contrary and say, but you did not consider all these things that you might lose when you were busy. And that's how the court would look at these things, and weighing up all these things, then the court will decide, do you get bail or not? And obviously it won't stop there for her. If for some odd reason they deny her bail, she can now approach a higher court, which is a full bench. She can go to the High Court, she can then go to a full bench, and the SCA, like her other compatriots on the stand there, has done already. They've approached the High Court for bail. But that's more or less where exceptional circumstances would be what they call a Schedule 6 bail offence, and they're in the CPA. There's certain offences that's listed as Schedule 1s, Schedule 2, Schedule 3, 5 and 6.
Is she the mastermind or is she the victim? I guess those are two of the questions that are being asked as far as Nandipha Magudumana is concerned. But we have seen, Slee, some of the accused already have been granted bail. Talk us through those.
Well, we have 9 of the 12 accused who've been released on bail. Those form part of those who are alleged to have been implicated, who are alleged to have played a role in Thabo Beste's escape, and they mainly are suspended as well as former G4S employees. Those are persons who were actually working at the prison at the time of the escape. We've got a CCTV technician, we have a supervisor, we've got security guards, we've got control room operators, and they were all mostly denied bail in the beginning, but on appeal were granted 10,000 Rand bail, and have actually been appearing in court on the various dates and occasions. And someone else who's also been released on bail is Nandipha Magudumana's father, Zolile Sekeleni. He was actually the first to be granted bail, and he is based in KwaZulu-Natal. And so we are, of course, expecting all 12 accused, including Thabo Bester, to be back in the Bloemfontein Magistrates Court on the 11th of October. But it remains to be seen whether Dr. Nandipha Magudumana would have been released on bail. Of course, those bail proceedings to start at around 9 a.m. this morning.
So really just under an hour to go. Thank you very much, Slindelo Masikane, coming to us live from Bloemfontein. She will be at the courts today following the progress on that bail hearing. Will Nandipha Magudumana be granted bail? We'll find out later on today.